Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be looking at the new NZXT C1200 Gold power supply. I looked at the C1000 a little while ago on the channel, and one of the most common questions was, when are we going to get an ATX 3 compliant power supply from NZXT? And today is that day. This is their new flagship power supply that does support the 12 or 16 pin with your NVIDIA 40 series graphics cards. So we're going to do an unboxing overview, and you might see this in a video very soon as well with the full build. So stay tuned and get subscribed for that. So let me tell you some of the key specs as we open this up. Well, there's a drop test for the screwdriver. There's all the detailed specs on the back of the box if you want to have a little pause before we actually get into it. So of course this is ATX 3 compliant, so you will have no worries with the latest 40 series cards. Of course there's been a lot of controversy with the 3 8 pins to 12 pin adapter, but this power supply will give you a direct cable, which is much safer. We've got our bag of cables on the left hand side. Got a meaty bag, could be used as a little bathroom travel bag as well when you have installed your power supply. Then of course on the right hand side we have the power supply itself. You get a whopping 10-year warranty with this power supply as well. It's got a mean time between failure of 100,000 hours. It's absolutely ridiculous. So the power supply itself, we've got a nice 140mm fluid bearing fan to draw in some nice fresh air. The whole unit does feel very solid. It's really heavy as well. It does feel very well made. We have got a little peel off here telling us about not using cables that aren't designed for this power supply. Never mix your cables unless you buy them for cable modders, direct replacements. You never mix them up, that's going to cause a bad time. We've got 4 8 pins. These will either be EPS, CPU power or PCIe. And of course you have got your 16 pin connector on there as well. Then some more peripheral and SATA. On the back we have got a 0 RPM fan mode, so when it's under low load it won't ramp up your fan, so it keeps the system a little bit quieter. This can also operate up to 50 degrees as well. Unlike some of the other competitors that are generally up to 40 degrees, unlikely to be in a room that's going to get that hot, but the more you know. If you're wondering specifically about the rails, you've got 120 watts over 3.3 and 5 volt, and 1200 over the plus 12 volt rail, for a total combined of 1200 watts. Let's have a look in our bag of tricks. First of all, we've got a power plug. This is an EU import, so that's why I've got one, but you will get a UK if you order from the UK. So we've got all of our cables laid out. From left to right, we have got a 1 to 4 SATA. And then there's 2 1 to 2 SATAs. So if you only need a couple, then you can use one of these cables. Saves on a bit of mess in your system. Then there's a 1 to 4 Molex if you're using any older devices. Also the first power supply that I've noticed doesn't have a floppy connector in. So we're seeing that connector finally die off. Of course we've got our 24 pin, that has a 20 and then 4, so you can only get it one way round in the power supply. 2 EPS 12 volt connectors. You can support the latest boards with 2 8 pins, so Z790 for example was prime candidate. Our PCIe cables, both of these are 6 plus 2 pins, and you've got a total of 4 of those, so you can do some more beefy cards like the 3090s for example that take 3 8 pins. Can easily do that on this. Then of course we have got our 16 pin cable on the end that can run up to 600 watts. And of course if you're using the 40 series you're only going to need that cable alone. So you have got some flexibility on what you decide to do. So should you be using a card that's got 3 8 pins now, you want to upgrade later on, you can obviously do that. A little closer look on that 16 pin cable, you can see all of those sensor pins are actually connected as well. And then you have got a nice solid latch for when that's all connected. The cable does feel very heavy, but of course you have got more cores in there as well, so that's partly why. But all of the braiding is nice and tight. Can't see any cables underneath. Usual lovely goodness from NZXT, and there's some nice heat shrink on there as well. So I'm not sure if there are any other wattages planned for NZXT with a 16 pin connector at the moment, but I think 1200 is a good average to go for. I would use at least 1000 watts for a latest platform build with the 3080 Ti for example, so 1200 is definitely a good starting point. Pricing wise, it's going to be $219, and probably about the same in pounds by the time we get the import fees and all that kind of stuff that comes with it. And I'll add the links in the description box when it's available. So let me know what you think about the new C1200. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Nice to see a ATX 3 compliant power supply from NZXT, and looking forward to seeing what they come out with in the future as well. Also stay tuned for my build with this power supply and some other really nice components coming out very soon. Get subscribed and ding the bell so you don't miss that. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Big thank you to NZXT for sending this out for me to look at, and I'll see you all in the next one.